Costa Rica is a stunningly beautiful country, teeming with wildlife and adventures, but we're finding it a very difficult place to travel by sailboat. The red tide, rough anchorages, bureaucracy, and even a bee swarm have us just about worn out. So we decided to grab a mooring in the town of Puntarenas, eager to do some inland exploring, but when it's time to check out, we're in for a struggle like no other. Alright, we have a little bit of an adventure to go on this morning. We have decided to go into Costa Rica Yacht Club and grab one of their moorings there. Being able to travel inland is one of the things that we really like to do, and it's been a bit difficult here in Costa Rica because they don't have dinghy docks that we can use. There's not a lot of marinas, and the shoreline is pretty rocky and rough to landy dinghies. So we figured if we go in and grab a mooring, then we'll have access to the marina's facilities there. And actually we're not able to get a slip because it's not deep enough. And we are actually meeting a pilot to guide us through the channel at high tide. It is 6:23 in the morning right now, and we have to meet the guide at 7 a.m. outside the channel. So we're gonna hurry up and motor the 3 miles over there to meet him. And we draft 5.5 feet, and apparently in some areas it's like about 7 feet. So we'll see. But anyway, it should be an adventure winding our way through the shallow areas to get back to our mooring.
So we're just approaching the entrance of the channel here, and this whole area is not deep enough at low tide for us to get through. It's only 1 or 2 feet deep in some areas at low tide. So right now we're at high tide, and it's 8 feet higher than low tide. So we should have enough water to get through, but the yacht club's gonna send a boat out to guide us in to make sure that we stay in the deepest parts. First time doing this.
Alright, so the pilot boat at the yacht club is having some outboard trouble, so they told us to come in to the channel slowly and they would try to meet us halfway. So we have navionics up and we're just gonna go slow, but the tide now, we passed the high tide mark, so we need to get in there as soon as possible. Oh, this might be them coming. Always an adventure. Puntarenas translates to English roughly as Sandy Point. This peninsula was first developed in the 1800s as a gateway to the Pacific for the coffee beans grown in the nearby mountains. However, the waters around this river mouth harbor are shallow, so in the 1980s, a new port for modern ships was constructed nearby in Caldera. Puntarenas has since been left with 2 major industries: commercial fishing and tourism. Right, so we're still waiting on the pilot boat, but we are slowly inching our way through the channel. On our port side, it's just a bunch of mangroves, and then on our starboard side, it's packed with fishing vessels. It's really cool to see. We've not seen this many fishing vessels since Grenada, I feel like. But they're all sizes. There's small ones, there's great big ones, and there's some fishing markets. So I think this town will be really cool to check out. We just heard from the marina manager, and he told us to keep making our way in. They're still having some trouble with their outboard, and like I mentioned, we're against the outgoing tides, so we're gonna just keep going. Right now we're showing 17 feet, and we know that it's gonna get a little bit more shallow as we work our way in here, but the bottom is like a mucky mud. So hopefully if we do end up bumping bottom, we don't have any problems.
Kind of crazy to think we're literally stuck in here except for at high tide. I think it's the first time we've ever gone somewhere where you can only get in and out at high tide. So right now we're in 11 feet of water, which at low tide would be 3 feet of water, which means we've crossed the point of no return.
Okay, so we see what we think is the marina up ahead. So we're gonna go ahead and guess that they didn't get their outboard running on their pilot boat. What do you think?
That's all right, who needs a pilot?
But we're in 12 feet right now. And yeah, we're just waiting on them to tell us where to find our mooring at.
Hi.
Buenas.
Sorry for the delay.
That's
No
okay.
worries. Give me a second. I have to give some information to this guy.
Okay.
And then pick you. Wait here, please. Okay. We need vendors on this side, please.
Okay.
I'm so sorry with you guys.
No worries.
okay.
We're fine.
Very
Okay.
harsh.
Day.
No worries.
This is our mooring for the time here. It's like a big fiberglass float that's moored on two sides, and they tie up two boats to it. And there's a hose that must be run underwater over to shore. So we should have fresh water here. But kind of neat, kind of different. And we're sitting in like 15 feet of water now, so at low tide we should still have 7 feet. So hopefully we're not sitting in the mud at low tide.
The guys here were super friendly.
Yeah, they were super friendly. They felt bad about not coming out to help us get in, but it really wasn't too difficult. We just followed the waypoints in our charts and no problems.
All right, we're headed to the office to check in. And we have a personal panga service, so that's pretty cool. Ciao, gracias. Costa Rica Yacht Club was exactly what we were looking for. The facilities were secure and well kept, and the staff was extremely helpful. Since it had been a while since we'd went to a town, we didn't waste any time grabbing a bus and heading into the downtown area.
Well, we just got back from town and we walked around and checked it out. We went and saw the lighthouse. And then we stopped and had a beer and had some lunch. And while we were walking around, we noticed the soccer stadium and we noticed a lot of people selling jerseys right by the stadium. So we found out that there's a game tonight and we managed to get tickets. So we're gonna take the bus back in here in about an hour and go see a Costa Rican soccer game tonight. I'm really excited. I don't know if you guys know this, but I played college soccer, so I'm pretty pumped about seeing a game somewhere. This is going to be a lot of fun, I think. It's probably going to be pretty wild. Decked out in the home team colors, we hopped on the bus and followed the crowd towards the stadium. We took a cue from the locals and grabbed a pre-game beer at the convenience store across the street. It's just like Orlando City.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Our first football game in Costa Rica. We came here at exactly the right time. It's awesome.
Once inside the stadium, we found some open space in the general admission section behind one of the goals. Puntarenas FC plays in the second division of the professional Costa Rican Soccer League. This match was particularly important as the winner would have a chance at promotion to the top division for the following year. We soaked in the sounds and atmosphere of the stadium and celebrated each home team goal with the packed-in crowd. After enjoying the home team victory, we made our way in the rain back to the yacht club.
So one of the things we need to do today is get fuel, and we can only get to the fuel dock at high tide. And high tide is right about now. It's almost 11:30 here. So we're gonna maneuver over and tie up to the dock, and hopefully we can get gas and diesel, and also fill up our water tanks. We had to biocide our water maker because of the red tide here. So we're hoping we can get those topped off and then maybe go grocery shopping later this afternoon. While we are over here at the fuel dock, we are filling our water tanks. The water hose at our little floating dock didn't work, but that's okay because they have the water hose here and it's potable water. So we're just putting it straight in our tanks, which is great. And we have about an hour to get back over to our little floating mooring before we have to start worrying about the tide. So we're in pretty good shape. Once we finished filling up, we headed back into town to grab an authentic Puntarenas treat.
So here in Puntarenas, the famous thing is the Churchill.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a Churchill. It is like shaved ice with strawberry and ice cream all together.
What's this?
And then it looks like it comes with some sort of cream. This is our first one. We're gonna dig in.
We decided to split one and maybe try another one somewhere else later. It's terrible.
That was dangerously good, but they're a little expensive, so that'll keep us from getting too many, I think.
Without easy access to land for the past couple weeks, we were running low on groceries. So we hit up the supermarket for veggies and dry goods. This mega super was very well stocked, so we loaded up on what we needed there and then went to the local meat market for the rest.
So we came into this little meat market to buy some ground beef and chicken, and every time we buy meat, we usually get some strange looks when we ask for how much we want, because we asked for 5 kilos, which is about 12 pounds. And they always ask us, like, are you sure 5 kilos? And we're like, yes. And then we always have to try to explain to them that we live on a boat and we're buying meat for like a month, because most people in these towns buy a meal for that day or maybe, you know, a couple days out. So we're definitely strange foreigners to the people that we do business with here, but it makes it kind of fun. All right, we've been here at Puntarenas for a couple of days now. We've been tied up to a mooring platform here in Costa Rica Yacht Club, and it's been really good. We've been able to get into town and go to a soccer game, and yesterday we were able to go over and get fuel, refill our water since our water maker's been biocided because of the red tide, and up here in Puntarenas the water is just really dirty, so there's no way we could run the water maker. And we also went and reprovisioned on some groceries yesterday. So today we're going to start the process to leave Costa Rica and go to Honduras. And we've decided to go to Honduras for a number of reasons. We had really hoped, and one of the main reasons we came in here to Puntarenas was to try to get a permit to Islas del Coco, which is a very remote island about 350 miles away from the mainland coast of Costa Rica. And it's one of the premier diving spots in all of the world. The more information we found out about what it would take to get a permit to go there, the more we realized it just wasn't possible. So there's a number of things. First off, it's extremely expensive. To go there for about 4 days after paying for all of the fees would have cost us well over $1,000. And then once we're there, if we wanted to scuba dive, you need to have a dive master from the mainland that's certified to dive in Islas del Coco. The problem with that is that all of the dive masters that are certified to dive there work on the big liveaboard boats that take people there for a week at a time. So it's basically impossible to do any scuba diving there on your own. And the number of hoops to jump through to get the permit were just absurd. It would have taken us a few days of running around doing paperwork. And there's also a 15-day waiting period. So all of these things and the cost, we just decided it's not worth it for just a couple days there. Maybe sometime in the future, we'll be able to go do a liveaboard dive there and spend a week there just diving, which is really what we'd want to do anyway. So that left us with a couple options. We could either sail from Costa Rica all the way up the coast to Chiapas, Mexico, where we plan to clear into Mexico, or there is a little bay with Honduras, Nicaragua, and El Salvador all bordering the same bay. And we've looked and we've chosen Isla Tigre as a spot we want to stop at. It's a little volcanic island in Honduras, and we're able to hike there, it looks like. So we think that'll be a good stop. It's about 2 to 3 days away from there, and then we'll have 2 to 3 days more from there to get to Chiapas, Mexico. So that's the plan. But before we can do any of that, we need to clear out of Costa Rica. Now, the clearance process to get out of here is absurd. We had a friend get a quote for $550 to clear out of Quepos by an agent. And we got a quote here in Puntarenas for $350 for an agent to clear you out. Well, that's a good chunk of money. So we're going to try to do it on our own. As we understand it, we need to go to the municipal office and make a payment, go to a bank and make a payment, go to the port captain, which may or may not be here in Puntarenas. We may have to go to a neighboring town to do that. And then we also have to go to Customs and Immigration. And I'm sure there's all sorts of paperwork and ridiculous things along the way. So we'll let you guys follow along today and we'll see how this process goes. Costa Rica Yacht Club, Costa Rica Yacht Club. Esta es una vida. Queremos una panguita a la muela, por favor.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, a minute.
Gracias.
Timo, el velerito visitante, Timo, una panguita, por favor.
Panguita's on the way.
What's a panguita?
A small panga.
It's the first time we've heard that term.
So what did we get?
Okay, so we're here outside the municipality building and we just paid 10,000 colones, which is about 15 US dollars for our international Zarpe. So basically this is the tax, we believe, on our Zarpe that allows us to leave Costa Rica here. So now we have to go to the Bank of Costa Rica and pay another fee for the Coast Guard. So let's try to find the bank. Costa Rica, and the guard would only let Gary in and not me, so I'm just out here waiting. Hopefully he can get it paid with no problems and we can move on to our next spot. We'll see how long we wait. Oh, I see you. Yeah, okay, so show me the form. Through the window? Okay, do your best. You got this. Bye. So it's been about an hour. I'm still sitting out here, but Gary texted me and said he's next in line. So we'll see how he makes out. And
Okay. We have paid the Coast Guard fee, and I have a stamped receipt. Stamp, 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 lots of stamping. And we're ready for the next step, which is going to the customs office to close out our temporary import permit.
that actually didn't take too long. It only took about an hour and 15 minutes. All right, so we went to where we thought we needed to go next, but the security guard told us we're in the wrong place and motioned to us to go over here. So we're gonna go check with him. Sometimes it's hard to film because with the officials, we don't want to get in trouble, like having a camera out of them.
I don't know, where did you say to go, this way or
He
that
said to go like this way.
This way.
Oh, there's somebody. Okay, the person we need to talk to is at lunch and won't be back until 1:30, which kind of puts us in a bind because we have a call today at 2 p.m. that we can't miss. So it looks like we're gonna go grab lunch and then continue on tomorrow morning because the office closes at 3 p.m. and we won't have time to get it all done.
This is a multi-day process.
Yes, multi-day, so
It might be 2, it might be 3, it might be 5.
hopefully we can get it done tomorrow, but it's time to go find some lunch.
Street food. I just got empanadas. One is queso and one is carne. And I think it was only like $2 or $3 for both of them. Really good. Here, have a bite.
I want to try their fast food fried chicken.
So we're back here at Costa Rica Yacht Club, and we just got done with a call with a partner that we're super excited about. But more on that later. But we're done with customs and checkout stuff for today, and gonna go do some cleanup on the boat. And we have a live chat on YouTube tonight, so we're gonna do that. And then tomorrow morning, back at it with the rest of the clearance process.
All right, today is day 2 of the customs and immigration process. So it's around 8 a.m. and we're just locking up the boat to get going, but we're not really sure what the day has in store for us. So we've packed a bag with water and some snacks just in case we're out there for longer than expected. But high tide is at 2 p.m. So if we're planning on leaving today, we need to get all of this done by 2. Wish us luck.
So, to to go to the port captain here in Puntarenas, you have to go to this nondescript, unlabeled door that you have to ask around for until you find it, and hope that the port captain happens to be in today. Buenas.
So where are we gonna get stuff printed?
There's a print shop over here.
Great, so we just finished up at the port captain's office, and basically he told us that we need to go to customs first, which is in another town, and then we need to go to immigration, which is back here in Puntarenas, and then back to the port captain, and his office closes at noon, so we need to hurry. He was a really nice guy though and helped us out, which is typically, I mean, we find that to be the case in most places, that people are always willing to help us and point us in the right direction. It's just getting to the right office that makes things a bit difficult. Oh yeah, and one other thing we forgot to tell you guys is that we need to find a photocopy and print shop, because they wouldn't make the photocopies we needed at the port office, and we don't have any extra copies of our originals on hand. So here's one. Great, so we're here, we're getting our copies made. We've had to email some documents to them as well to get those printed off for us. But basically, the port captain said that he needed a crew list, and we've never had to provide that before, so we quick made one on our phones and we're having it printed now, as well as all the copies of our registration and our zarpes from Golfito and Capos. Whew, we're running out of time. I think we have 2 hours left to get back to the port captain's office. Great, so we got our copies made, and now we are off to the customs office, which is in El Roble. So we grabbed a cab instead of the bus just because we're short on time.
And we don't know where the office is.
And also we don't know where the office
And we can't find it on Google Maps.
Yeah, we can't find it on Google Maps, but it seems like the taxi driver knew exactly where to go. How do we get in?
What?
How do we get in?
It says that there's no system for them to do it, correct? Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. Gracias. Ciao. I don't know. He said he's going to call someone and then he'll call me back.
So we're outside of what we thought was the customs office. But if we understand correctly, he is saying that their whole system's down. So they're not able to help us, and we need to go to another customs office, which is a pretty far drive from here. So we just called the port captain, and we're waiting on him to tell us what we need to do. Okay, so as we understand it, the customs system is down.
For the whole country.
For the whole country.
So they can't do our customs clearance. So we're speaking with the port captain via WhatsApp and trying to figure out what we do. So he said he's going to make some phone calls and try to figure it out for us. But we're a pretty far way away from Puntarenas now. And we're not sure whether we should head back or just wait here. I don't know. But we're not waiting around for another week for their computer system to get back up and running.
Yeah. The other issue is we wanted to leave at high tide today, which is at 1 p.m. Because if we don't make high tide today, then we have to wait till tomorrow to leave.
I think we should head back to the port captain.
To Puntarenas.
To Puntarenas.
Okay, let's do that then. Okay, so the port captain called us back and he told us to come back to the customs office and try to talk to someone else. So we're gonna try it again.
Buenas.
Buenas.
Hola, buenas.
¿Cómo estás?
Vamos a Puntarenas. Correos de Costa Rica.
Correo de Costa Rica.
Correos de Costa Rica. Sí.
Gracias.
Okay, so the Costa Rica checkout rodeo continues. We're in another cab, back to Puntarenas now. We got handed a folder with blank pages with a customs stamp on it. And we're supposed to take these to, I think, like the post office now to meet a customs agent at the post office. And she's supposed to be able to do our customs clearance for us. We'll see. It's now 11:20. The port captain told us he only works till 12, but maybe he'll stick around and help us out. But we're still up against high tide to leave.
Oh, and we have to go to immigration.
We still have to go to immigration.
Okay, so it looks like we're not going to be leaving today. We got our handwritten note that we're okay to leave from customs from the post office. But what?
Okay, so what we needed from customs was an annulment of our temporary import permit. When you bring a boat into Costa Rica, you need to get a temporary import permit, which is good for 90 days, I believe. And if you don't leave with the boat in those 90 days, then the boat is subject to a very large import tax. So what we had to do is basically tell them and get a form that says that we're leaving the country with the boat. So when that 90 days is up, we don't owe the tax on the boat. Unfortunately, the system was down, so the customs officer wrote the form by hand. Hopefully that does what it needs to do.
So then we had to go to immigration.
And the immigration office is closed for lunch right now. So high tide is in about an hour and a half, and there's no way we'll be getting on the boat and out at high tide today. So hopefully we can finish up what we need to do and then leave tomorrow at high tide. We've heard that technically once you get your passport stamped at immigration, you have to leave within 3 hours, but that will be physically impossible because the boat will not be able to get out of the river until high tide tomorrow. I guess we could go at high tide tonight.
No, we're not going at night.
Probably not a good idea to try to leave in the middle of the night out this little river full of moorings and fishing boats. So we're gonna go grab lunch now. Okay, we're back at the immigration office now after having a nice little lunch. We'll see if I can get our passport stamped.
So we're just sitting here inside the immigration office. No one's here really, I guess. We're just kind of waiting until maybe someone comes out to see if they're gonna help us. I think we're at the right place. It's the immigration office, Puntarenas, but we don't really know. So maybe someone will come out behind one of these doors soon. Or number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4.
Maybe we're just supposed to choose one. Just choose a door and walk through. All right, we have our clearance from immigration and our passports have been stamped out. So now we need to go back to the port captain and give him copies of everything else. And then we'll get our Zarpe to leave.
All right, hopefully this is our last stop. All right, so the port captain just gathered all our paperwork. I think he was proud of us for getting it all correct. He's in there processing it now, so hopefully we didn't mess anything up, but he's been super helpful with this process, and without him, I think we would probably still be at customs trying to figure out what we do since their system was down. I think I'll be ready for a cold beer after this, maybe. What do you think, babe?
No, it's nice.
Oh, Gary wants ice cream. Ice cream would be nice too. Oh, this is our pick. Ooh, let's see it. We did it! Alright. Alright. We just left the port captain's office.
We are all done with paperwork in Costa Rica, and
It feels so good.
I don't think I'll ever want to come back and sail here again just because of the paperwork.
It's a lot of paperwork, but we did it. The port captain's office was amazing, guiding us through. And yeah, now it's time for a refreshment. After 2 days, 2 taxis, 3 buses, and 6 different offices, we finally had our clearance paperwork to depart Costa Rica. We took one last Pangita ride back to One Life, feeling exhausted but definitely ready to sail our way north along the remaining stretch of Costa Rica and eventually onward to Honduras.